Hello. Good evening to you, the Molten crew. Oh, hang on, just trying to get myself comfy. Fiddling. I've been enjoying that particular 16-step sequence for a long time. I have to say, days, I think. And in there I've got a lovely thing from Endless that's picking out notes from a kind of a Turing machine randomized sequence, which is lovely. It is warming up in here, thank you for your concern. I have shed some clothes, I'm just keeping the scarf on for now. Anyway, I digress. Oh, a little bit of silence suddenly. Good evening. Welcome back to another Molten Live chat thingy jiggly bob. We haven't had one of these for a little bit because we got all sort of embroiled in Brastronica and Synth Fest. Just checking my levels. At the end of last month, so we didn't get a chance to do one, which is such a terrible shame, and it feels like I haven't done it for ages, which also means none of the stuff I usually use to live stream with is logged into, so I've had to faff around for ages trying to get everything to work. But hey, we're here now. It's good to be here, staring at the camera into the deep void of darkness, and just assuming that the other people are here for the ride. I'm surrounded by. I'm trying. Anyway, just going to open my beer. Today I'm going for Beavertown as usual is my way, although I do have a Green King IPA also. Oh, audio is good. So let me just pour this and I'll say hello to a few people and we'll get started with whatever it is we're supposed to be doing today. Good, thank you, Ken. What's that? I got something in me beer. I mean, really? Oh no, is that just fluff? Or is that living? Never you mind. So how are we been? Are we all right? I've been looking forward to this actually, rather than sort of fear and trepidation that I sometimes feel myself overwhelmed with. I've actually been sort of fairly positive and feeling up about doing this live stream all day, which is nice. A little bit of froth. Good. Don't fall over and go into things. So, if you've never been to one of these before, this is the Molten Music Technology channel. This is what I call Molten Chat, which is just a live stream with no particular agenda. It's a live stream where we perhaps talk about the interesting products of the week or the day or the month or whatever it was I had in my Molten Monthly. We might poke around at some new bits like you were hearing there on the intro. A new filter that I bought myself, and a bit of Endless, also a bit of Mojave, the Mojave, And I've also got the Brinter in the box as well here, which is quite nice. So I've got both the Mojave and the Brinter to review. So I had like a 2-second play with the Brinter, and that's just like crazy bonkers. Enjoying that, I think. I've also got the Erica Synths effects have just turned up. The FX Boy, I've just finished building that. Excuse me a moment. Oh, pardon me. And I did that's a whole build. That's a DIY build. You can't see, it's just out of shot. I'll bring it in a little bit. But hey, look, cartridges and that. Cartridges, these are great. This is a lot of fun. So I've just finished doing the build video on it, and I'm just testing it out, and I need to do a bit of a demo to put at the end of the build video. So I should get that video out this week. I might go into a little bit of detail because it's just quite fun. So that's a good one. Other bits and pieces, you know. But ostensibly this evening we could look at, we could look at DivKid's new thingy, but I don't really know what I'm talking about yet, so it's probably best left until I have a little bit of a clearer idea as to what is that about. So, but I ordered one of those, so that's quite nice to have a play with, because it's going to be sort of intelligent, and it will be about proper modular things that are not really my forte. This cable, what's happened to this cable? It's covered in all sorts of stuff. Anyway, so yeah, lots of things to look at potentially, and also to talk about. So tell me how you're doing. Oh, good Lord, somebody's always throwing cash at me. Am I to take my shirt off already? Thanks very much. That's nice. Very nice. Oh, honestly, what is my take on the are they called Chaos Instruments? Somebody told me they were called Chaos Instruments. I don't know. XAOC, the Libsnis system. Matt, all I know about it is that every now and again it creeps up when they release something new and it talks about it, and I'm having to write it up going like it's something to do with this Leibniz system, of which I know nothing. It feels like there's this other mysterious thing going on to which I've had no information and don't know anything about. All I know is that some of their modules seem to refer to it in some kind of way that I'm supposed to understand, but also in respect of all their modules all have names that don't make any sense or refer to things that actually have nothing to do with themselves. It makes me assume that that system is a name for something which it doesn't really describe itself. So I'm going to be of no use to you, sadly. But if they ever get in touch and want me to do something on it, then maybe I'll understand it a bit more deeply. But at this stage, I really don't know. I mean, the only XAOC module I have is the Batumi, I think, which has been great. Although I had weirdness with my Batumi. I've been running the alternative firmware on it like forever. So it's got random outputs coming out of the middle output, the assignable output, and it just stopped doing it. It reverted back to doing the trapezoid one, and I've got no explanation for that. And when I go to the website, the alternative firmware is no longer there. So it's just gone a bit weird on me, which is a shame, because there are times when I grasp this module and I go, oh right, I can do interesting interpolated things with it. Because most of the time I'm just using LFOs sort of by themselves in their own world. Whereas with a little bit of thought, you can do amazingly conjoined things with this one. So, and also I enjoy a good random source. So I'm a bit upset that those have disappeared. Oops, sorry, microphone. But I'm hoping that the expansion for the DivKid Oct does have some randomization type sample and hold sort of thing in it, and I hope that's going to provide some useful bits and pieces. So anyway, what was I saying? Hello Andrew, good to see you. Exorb, good to see you. Half God Beast, nice to see you. I saw the other Andy as well, X101. Hi, how you doing? I'm just going to rewind up to the top a little bit just to say hi. Ken, said hello to you already. Grant, good to see you. Excuse me my sniffing. Imperfect, all that sort of thing. Good to see you. Thanks for coming down. Camden Dogs, give us a wave. Chatty. Art, Hobgoblin, Village Green Sound System are in the house. Peter, good to see you. Blouse. honestly. Good evening, everyone. It's great to have you with us. A lot of colds about, Andrew. I'm actually getting warm now. Because I do have my heater on. It does happen from time to time. Sort of bills be damned. Floodwatered? No floodwaters in our area, particularly. I mean, my village is in a hollow, one could say. A hollow, which means there's no mobile phone reception. And it does get a bit boggy at times, but just fortuitously, our house it's just on the right side of the road. On our road, the street, all the water goes away from us into the houses across the street, and they all get flooded out very sadly, and very boggy gardens. Whereas we seem to be high and dry, just inches higher than they are on that side of the road. So we seem to get away with it mostly, which is great. I'm quite pleased about that. I have enough things to worry about, having to worry about floods. But I mean, I know it's been terrible in and around the place. East Anglia, as it goes, is kind of the driest part of the country. All the rain seems to have given up by the time it gets to us. So that's quite fortunate. So we've been doing okay. Thank you very much. Other people, not so much. The fashion police are in. Yeah, no, I know that the Chaos modules are named after cities. I do know that, by which I mean they have no relation to the functionality of the module. You know, they call it Belgrade or something of that nature, but that doesn't tell you anything about the module, I think was my point, rather than not understanding where the names came from. See, I'm cleverer than you think. There's someone on Facebook. Quick, there's someone on Facebook. Gondorf, it's a pleasure to have you with us, sir. When am I planning another Risky Beach tidal modular stream? Well, funnily enough, I was quite bowled over by just how popular that was. That was amazing. I've never had so many comments on a video ever, and it's probably the shortest video I've ever put out. because what you don't see is that I spent sort of half an hour leading up to that wrestling with my modular, trying to get something out of it while being bothered by dogs and the waves. And kind of the whole thing was quite stressful until somewhere towards the end, I decided to cut the tempo in half, which I like to do sometimes. And the whole thing just kind of relaxed, and I relaxed into it. And I was able just to put a couple of simple things going. I thought, oh, well, that's actually really nice. And I'm glad. And then I was taken out by a wave. So all you got of usable stuff was about that 3 or 4 minutes that I put up, which is a shame because it was, I could have done more with what I had. But just at that moment, as you saw, the waves got close and then I had to pack up and run before it was bad. But yeah, it was fun. I'm trying to save all of this, obviously, for a really, really deep and interesting video I'm going to be doing on getting portable with my modular. But I've been trying to do it for about 2 years, trying to do it since COVID. And I've been talking about it and thinking about it. Trying to persuade myself into buying the right battery, never actually knowing what the right battery is, because it's one of those impossible situations. It's like, for instance, I often get asked what laptop someone should buy. What laptop should I get? They say, because I'm at one time, my channel gives the impression I know something about computers, which of course I did once at one time, very much so, expert, you could say. But that question was never a question you could answer, because there was never any consistency with what a laptop could do, regardless of its specifications or its memory or this, that, and the other. You could buy an extremely expensive, highly powerful laptop and it not been able to do anything because of its processor couldn't cope with the idea of doing real-time audio in and out over USB. So it didn't really matter. There was no way of answering that question correctly. And so I'd always have to give very long-winded answers over, well, it depends on this and depends on that, and how long's a piece of string, and, you know, can it do audio? Yes, of course it can, but how many tracks? Who knows? No one's ever going to know, etc., etc. Why am I saying all this? Yeah, this is similar to trying to get an answer on what battery to buy in order to run your modular, because it depends on what modules you're running and how big your case is and what the power draw is and what you're expecting and how long you want it to last for. And, you know, you go round and round in all these circles where it just prevented me from actually moving forward. So I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off for a couple of years. And for some reason, I suddenly thought, sod it, I'm just going to buy one and get on with it. So I bought a battery. I punted at it because, as I say, I had no solid information. Now I'm sure when I've posted my video all about it that the comments will fill up with really helpful, useful information from people who know all about it. But none of it will actually result in understanding what battery to buy. It will be full of wonderfully helpful things about power and the relationship to current and relationship to voltage, resistance, wattage, all those sorts of lovely things. But unless it can actually point at what how a product describes itself, it's one of those things which is all kind of hot air and doesn't really mean anything. Do you know what I mean? I mean, this is, sorry, I'm just going to turn my heater off at the moment. It's getting a bit too warm in here. Yeah. It's one of those things like, well, it's like with everything. You know, part of the chips that I carry on my shoulder are all about this sort of stuff. When things are explained in such a complicated way that they become totally impenetrable and ultimately useless. And so while having expertise is awesome, please, we need experts. It needs to be de-expertified to some degree, which is kind of where I see my role. My role is just trying to uncover enough information from all the experts to allow all of us to actually get on and do something, rather than having to think, oh no, I'm going to have to do a course, or I'm going to have to do a 3-year degree in something, and just to be able to understand why it is I need a VCA. Do you know? See what I'm saying? So so this is the place I found myself when trying to do a mobile modular experiment. Experiment is a word, I think. Experiment is a word. So yeah, I just had to make a decision ultimately and go with it and see what happened. And the experiments have been interesting. I mean, more than less successful, I would say. I mean, the one on the beach was perfect. It worked perfectly for about half an hour and would have continued to do so had the tide not come in. The one I did in the woods, was also successful. No, actually, no. See, this is wrong. The one in the woods was successful. One on the beach was not. The reason I was fighting with it was because one of the modules, the White Rabbit, kept sort of turning itself on and off, and I couldn't work out where the drop was coming from. You know, music would play, then it would disappear, and then come back, and then it would disappear and come back. And I narrowed it down, over this 20 minutes of wrestling with it before I actually got to make some music, to being the White Rabbit. And I had to pull it out because it was just causing trouble. And once I'd done that, then the rest of the system seemed to be fine. So that was certainly an anomaly because it didn't do it, and it had the same module in when I did the one in the woods. So inconsistency, strangeness, not enough to make me think, oh, this is rubbish, but just enough for me to go, oh, that's a bit odd, isn't it? So yes, coming soon, I hope to sort of do a little bit more testing, like how long does the battery last if I leave it on, that kind of thing. And then I'll talk about it and show you what I've done and what I've got to, but in no way is it a definitive, clever experiment into battery use and modular. It's more of I've got a battery, I plugged it into here, this is what happened. And you're going to have to sort dig into that yourselves. And of course, as I say, fill in the comments with all the intelligent stuff about what I should have done, which I'll never understand. I don't imagine. Anyway, that's a load of talk. And I'll be saying all this again, obviously, in the video when I do it. So that's nice. So sorry about that. Anything else going on? Any other good questions? Oh, there's somebody on Twitch. Oh, wow, they want to offer me a promotion. That's exciting. This price is lower than any competitor. Quality is guaranteed. Prickly Martyr, I think you're the only person on Twitter, and you think that you can offer me promotion. I think that's awfully brave, taking a punt on someone with 0 Twitch viewers. Fantastic. So thank you for that. That's exciting. You mean you bought XX, you idiot, lol? What does that mean? What have I missed? All right, just rewinding a little bit. I received 100 messages. Well, that's exciting. You're all talking amongst yourselves brilliantly. Did that. There we go. So Steve asks, if you had to choose a modular rig made up of only one manufacturer, what is your top 3? Erica Synths, first of all. I mean, I would love to be able to carry off the whole leather jacket and darkness of the Erica Synths techno system. Yes, any day. That would, I mean, I wouldn't say it suits me down to the ground, but I would like to be able to pull that off. I would like to be that dark and that cool and get away with it. And to be able to produce that kind of noise techno, I think would be very exciting. So yeah, that would be one. That would be one. I really like this LA Circuits. Is it LA Circuits? Let's hope they get this right. I've just got this Sunless City filter from them, which is, I could bring it into shot if I'm careful. There we go. Careful, not pulling on anything too hard. Oh, this thing here, really nice. Do a really nice range of modules. I mean, it's kind of classic, basic stuff that's got some booklet inspired, but not necessarily too crazy so that you don't understand what's going on. And this is just a simply lovely transistor filter and a ladder filter essentially, and it's good, and they do a lot of good stuff, and it would look really nice in a case. But it's good, good old-fashioned analog oscillators and interesting bits and pieces to play around with. So yeah, that would be a possibility. Otherwise, you've got to think. I mean, obviously there's Bafako. I mean, in some ways that's a given. I'm just trying to think if there's something slightly stranger that I could think of. Because I mean, the obvious ones like Make Noise. It's not really my scene. I don't have an awful lot of Make Noise stuff. It's just I've not really gelled with Make Noise stuff, particularly for one reason or another. It may just simply be because I don't have much of it. But I had the No Coast, which I struggled with for a good year or two before selling it on. I do have a Maths over there somewhere, and I really like their Rosy output module, but that's not really anything particular. But their shared system, for instance, it I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to play with, but it's not something that instantly grabs me. IntelliGel seems a bit straightforward. if that's not rude. A little bit sort of square somehow. So, I mean, Qubit, absolutely not, because I would spend my whole time just banging my head against the wall going, I love this, but I don't understand it. I love it, I don't understand it. So I like half of Qubit stuff. I could never fill a case with it because there'd be too many things that, I would feel that I've failed at least 3 or 4 of the modules because I don't quite understand how they work. What else? Based on what I have, maybe. I had a thought a minute ago and it's gone out of my head. I don't know. My brain is not thinking very deeply. Wavephonics is quite nice. Again, good basic stuff. Solid. But for that, I think Erica Synths would be the best protocol overall. So the LA circuits are something slightly more esoteric, and then now, very interesting question. I think the answer to it is that I wouldn't. I'd really push back hard against that. I mean, I could easily go with Bafako, I think. Yeah. Well, I mean, Instruo, I mean, there you go. That's a beautiful case of stuff, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would be another option. But again, there'd be a lot of stuff that I wasn't quite entirely sure what it's supposed to be doing. So, I mean, what I'm getting out of this is that I pick quite carefully the bits from different manufacturers that I actually understand and have any chance of making simple bleepy blopey simple bleepy bloopy music, I'm not trying to do anything too clever. If I can find a clever effect, like the Mojave at the moment is seeming quite interesting. But is it so much clouds, Difficult to say. So thank you for that. That's made me think. I need an elevated platform for the beach. Yeah, I mean, that's all very well, but how am I going to fit that on the bike? How am I going to fit that on the bike? I've got to be mobile, and that means for me either walking or getting on my motorbike, because my wife has the car during the day, which is when I'm likely to do this sort of thing. So it has to be strappable in my back and walkable to the place. So it's like taking a table and a chair with me. It's not really possible. I took a picnic rug, which is still wet. And I thankfully I put it on the analog case, the case I put it in. I took it out and then put it on top of that, and that was actually very fortuitous, there's that word again, because that did get a little splash, but everything was lifted off the ground. Also, I don't sit well on the ground, so I was trying to think of a way of raising it up without too much bother, and that did seem to do the job. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, getting out there though. Welcome to the world of computers. Oh, you see, that's quite sweet. I mean, you do know that my business has been computers for about 25 years until about 2019. But anyway, Well, interestingly enough, as I say, I'm working on, as I have said in the past, rather, I'm working on a 10-year anniversary little video. It doesn't seem to be a very little video. It seems to be an enormous video at the moment, which is just recapping what I've been doing over the last 10 years. And it's quite interesting when I'm sort of sitting there talking about building computers and what that was all about and how that went and why it disappeared, what's changed and things like that. It's quite interesting, the arc or the evolution that Molten or whatever it is I'm doing has gone through. Well, at least I find it interesting. I mean, I don't know if anybody else does, but it's interesting to talk about from my perspective, because I mean, ultimately I make these videos for myself. You know, I sit around and just watch myself all the time. That's what I do. Yeah, I mean, the XAOC, the Chaos stuff, is good looking. There's no doubt. I mean, it has a Heinbach feel about it, hasn't it? It's got this sort of signal generator, old Russian, Soviet feel about it, which is really nice, I think. But again, I'm not entirely sure if I'd know how to run it. That's the thing. No, see, I mean, mutable instruments, yeah, maybe, but again, it's not been really my sort of thing. I mean, I absolutely adore the stuff, the artistry, and the technology behind, and the thought process that went behind most of those modules. But they've not been something that I've found a particular affinity with myself, funnily enough. Like clouds, classically, I had a terrible time with and just really did not like it at all. Beads has been similar. Is it Beads? I forget. I got it's on the shelf there somewhere, isn't it? Maybe I got rid of it. I don't remember. Anyway, the one that replaced it. Yeah, didn't really get on with that one either. So I can. Those are the sort of modules that I can appreciate, but don't necessarily want to use. I've found. I mean, even Platts, I don't like that particularly. I sold that on. I do have the Behringer one because it's the one that they sent me, but I've never used it outside of doing the review because they're just not noises that appeal to me. You know, I mean, I quite like the resonator string, the ring sound that's in there, but then I've got a Surface, so I use that for that. Otherwise, it's all stuff pretending to be other stuff, and I'd rather have the stuff that does the stuff, if that makes sense. Doepfer, yeah, Doepfer. It just feels all a bit fiddly. I mean, I can sit here and slag off every manufacturer if that's useful. I don't know. I don't really mean to do that. But then not all manufacturers either do a full range. I mean, I really like nanotech, nano modules. The Honor, this little oscillator here, is brilliant. I really, really like it. I've also got their 4-channel envelope quart thing, which is nice. They do really nice stuff. I like the styling. I like the layout. I like the approach. Seems really, really nice. So that's a particular manufacturer that I'd like to get more of their stuff. Very quickly, I would easily double up on an Honor oscillator. I think those are brill. I mean, maybe an entire Crazy Chicken system would be the winner, really. They must do an oscillator, don't they? Because that fat favourite avocado toast, this one here, this filter is great. It's just superb. I mean, I've got this little system here now. I've got the acronym oscillator, which is from Wrong, which is great. Got that going into the Crazy Chicken. And I got the Pony VCO, because it's nice and small, sounds great, going into the Sunless City. And those two together are two great little synth voices that I've really enjoyed using those together. Haven't quite nailed the envelopes for them yet, that kind of side of things. I'm using the Expert Sleeper's Amelia here, which is great. I'm enjoying that, but I'm also borrowing, at the moment I put my Delta V back in over here, which is a Cosmotronic module, which is essentially 2-channel VCA with a attack release or attack decay envelope built in. So it's a little, because that, I mean, VCAs and envelopes is one of those things that boggles my mind a lot of the time. It's the why they have to be quite so complicated. Why we have to have separate ones of, I mean, it's a ridiculous thing to say. Why are we having separate ones of those? Because it's modular, obviously. But it's in some way so utilitarian or something that they might as well just be tied to each other. I mean, I suppose I'm supposed to be using envelopes with other things. I'm supposed to be being clever with envelopes, but I rarely am, because I just want to beep. I just want to beep, and I want to drag on the low pass filter. Very basic requirements is what I have, and something like that does it really well. I just really don't like the front panel. They have done a more up-to-date one, which has got a much nicer sort of black front panel, but I can't bring myself to just swap it out, because that's such a waste of money, because I already have it. I have the functionality. It works well. I like what it does. It saves a lot of space, particularly in this particular case. So, I'm sticking with that until I can come up with an alternative. Yeah. Hey, there's somebody else on Twitch. Careful, there's some guy in there trying to sell you stuff. Just mind how you go. Oh, Paulie, hi. Don't clock it. Don't clock what? Oh, Robert got a Perkins. That's nice. That sounds like a fun thing. Valshag from Twitch. Hi, you love my chat with Helena Vogelsinger. Yeah, she's great. Absolutely marvellous. She's still doing marvellous stuff. Absolutely. It was a real pleasure to talk to her. Hydrosynth. That was one of my first great ventures out. I thought I'd do something outside. It'll be fun. It'll be different than fiddling around in here all the time. And I just completely stuffed it up by using the wrong batteries, which was hilarious, really. Poor Ken, what's his name, went just ballistic on me. He had been working on the whole battery system of the Explorer, the Hydrosynth Explorer, and I just sort of got on the YouTube and said, oh yeah, it lasts 10 minutes, it's rubbish. And I'd used the completely wrong batteries. And he was not pleased. So yeah, so that was fun. Hey, we live and learn. We live and learn. Stone Junction says, wow, that's a module only a mother could love. Ugly. What module are we talking about? Was it something I was pointing at? Yeah, the case. Yeah, have you not seen that before? It's brilliant. It's mounted on an arm. It's just the best thing. I mean, it's a bit wobbly when you put cables in, but hey, the convenience of being able to move it about and shift it so that I don't have to do my back in trying to leave over something or that kind of thing is ace. It's just a great thing. It is a marvellous thing. I really appreciate that. muchly. And yes, that's a Bafako case, the 7U new Bafako case. I have two of them. This one is on a stand. And this is sort of my thinking on these things changes. As you know, I was all in on the whole rack brute Arturia thing, the twin rack brute that folded together. And that is, still over there, looking resplendent as it is. But it was so heavy. I could carry it to an EMOM just about, and I took it to synths and stuff like that, but it was just so heavy. And I always felt like I was sort of using 2/3 of it at most in a gig, and felt like I could just slim it down just to make it more manageable, so I could take a single case to a gig, and that would just be better. And I've seen people do it. I've seen people with single cases of modular making a lovely sound. And I thought I must be able to do that. I mean, that IntelliGel case, 7U case, performance case, I think it is, it was a testament to that. It's a fantastic way of doing things. And so when the Bafako case came out, I thought it was a golden opportunity to try to get a working system into a single case. So this is what I'm trying to do with this. So it shifts around, and I'm trying to just use this as much as possible. And then I've got this backup case with extra bits and pieces I'm either testing out or trying out or don't have room for. But ultimately, I want to be able to unscrew this from the stand, stick it in its case, and take it off to a gig. That's the plan. That's why it has the black sequencer in here at the moment, because I'm trying to sort of relearn it, because I got well into it when I did the review, but I've not used it for a long time, and I'm just coming back to it to see whether this would be enough. Does this give everything I need to run the system? I mean, I think it does more than that. Perhaps it may be too much. So I'm just experimenting with whether this is the best choice, because there's things in it that I really like, and there's things in it which I think, oh, if only I could do that, if I could just affect it a little bit more, because it feels like you write your pattern and you're done. You play your pattern. You write your pattern, you play your pattern. And I don't know, I've got other sequencers, more single channel sequencers that you just sort of twist away at, and you can change it really quickly and on the fly. And this doesn't feel quite so on the fly yet, but I'm relearning it, and I'm finding out things about it. And every time I have a fiddle with it, I come up with something pretty great. So it's staying at the moment. But at the moment, I'm only using one channel. I'm using a single channel going to the Pony VCO, and it's got 4 channels. I should be using much more of it, but I'm not. So it makes me think, well, maybe I don't actually need that there. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to swap it out for the ALM, the SQ, whatever that is called, the Busy Circuits one with the buttons on, the typewriter buttons. I might put that in and give that a go, because it's not quite so wide, and again that gives you 2 channels plus some percussion, so that might be better suited. It doesn't quite fit in with the blackness of this though, that's the only thing. But so I'm experimenting with that, trying to find the best sequencer for my single case. We'll see. I've also got some 1U drums turning up soon, because I'll be trying to sort out the percussive side. And what I find is, I mean, it's interesting to me. I mean, I'm just talking, I hope nobody really minds, I'll just keep running on. So I got this fella, the Mandrake, on which I wish to do a video. I need to do a video on it, because they were good enough to send it to me. Maelstrom were good enough to send it to me. Have I got this? Yeah, it is Maelstrom and yes. They were good enough to send it to me, and I need to do something on it, because it's interesting. And one of the things that's interesting about these sorts of modules, because this is just a kick drum, is that you get kick drums in entire modules, and that's all it's doing. And you've got all this stuff to make a kick drum, when actually my needs are for a kick drum just to sound like a kick drum, and just to be about this big, and to not bother the rest of my system. So it's fascinating that you can get so much control and changeability and timbre change within just a kick drum module. And presumably there's people who just fall over themselves for that sort of thing. Whereas kind of I just want a single kick drum to do its thing, and it doesn't need to change really. But this, having said that, having this in the case has been brilliant. I've used it a lot but pretty much always on the same kind of settings because I've dialed in the kind of kick drum that I like and I've just sort of left it on that. So interesting, but it's going to be interesting to take a dive into it to see, you know, to see what I can do with all the facilities that it offers me. So yeah, I'm going to stick those in here somewhere, probably drop these two sequences out, lovely though they are. Because this is still useful. This Mosaic quantizer has an ability to run as an arpeggiator, so you can just set it going with a clock rather than having to run something through it and quantize it. You can just send out an arpeggiation, which is quite useful. You can just set something running. Works really well with the Surface, so that's a useful thing to have knocking around in there. Anyway. I just like talking about this stuff. The IntelliGel Rainmaker. Yeah, that's one of those legendary modules that just has never been available since I've been into modular. It's one of the ones that people used to talk about a lot back in the day. Yeah, but you'd never see one or hear one or know if you'd heard one. No, I have no STG SoundLab stuff. No. I do not. It's not very available over here, I find. Mojave. Yeah, that's the fella. So, Matt, I've got that here. I'm doing a thing on it. Do we have a quick exploration into the Mojave? If I bring the camera in, is that going to mess everything about? I mean, you can... It's here, right? You can see that, yeah? If I turn off the endless processor... So that's what. So what do I know about the Mojave? I'm never. Oh dear. Mojave. What is it? I don't know. Anyway, I've got this deserty thing. Apparently, it's some kind of Americani desert. It's probably got a burger bar named after it. So it's, what is it again? So it's some kind of granular thing. Everyone's into granular at the moment. So if I've got something going in, something going out, I've got the mix all the way down, and I've got all these different knobs that do different things, apparently. Turned everything down. I think this is the mix knob. That's already interesting. I'm not doing that. Well, worth it for that. So it's got drift, distribute, rate, structure, whirl, size, gust. Window speed zone. So a bit of drift. Don't know what that's doing. Try a bit of whirl. I'm going to just turn these ones up. That's speed, which is evidently pitch. That was the structure knob that seemed to do that, but it's still doing the thing even though I've turned the thing down. Okay, gust seems to be like a reverb. Distribute. That's the size. Just gonna make sure the data bender's down. Well, interesting. I mean, I don't, I haven't looked at the manual or anything. I've just literally just plugged it in. Well, it also has a microphone built in, doesn't it? I don't know what that would mean. How that would help. Definitely interesting. Oh, there you go, the microphone. 1, 2. 1, 2. How how interesting. See, funnily enough, today, right, I have my flute with me. You didn't know I was a flute player, did you? I'm not really a flute player. But I made this flute at university where I studied musical instrument technology, and I built Baroque wooden flutes, would you believe? So I haven't played this in about 10 years, and I thought I'd give it a go as I was messing around with Endless earlier. So I wonder if this would be appropriate. Now, I'll apologise ahead of time because it may not sound like anything, and I'm not sat very well. That was interesting. Let's just put in a bit more delay on. This is coming from there to there. Interesting. Now I do have the Brinter. Well, why don't I pause for a moment and let people ask questions. And then I've also got the Brinter in here. As I say, I played with for about 2 seconds, which is going to be more difficult to see because it's all swamped in stuff. There's it in there. And if I take the same, what I do, funnily enough, I've got the instrument interface set up over here with a microphone in it. So I forgot that that had a microphone. So I have this thing here. Da, da, da. So I'm going to take that into Brinter. Do I have that spare? That looks a bit spare. What's that doing? Is that doing anything? Oh, it's going into that. So maybe I do need another cable. Just don't have anything very long. So I need the input to come from here. Oh. Now this has a record button. So this is just all you're getting at the moment is a black stereo delay. Anyway, I was going to talk before I did anything, wasn't I? So let's just let's just cut that for the moment. Right, sorry about that. Was that fun? I don't know. I got a bit carried away. A rack full of distings. Ken, that would be like N times. No! Favorite module for musical randomness, the qubit bloom. No, don't do it. Don't do it. It will melt your brain. You'll end up on some kind of hard drugs trying to get over the enormity of what it is you have to think about to try to understand what Bloom is doing. The best randomization module of any kind is the Turing machine. It's here. I built this about 4 years ago. I still use it. It's just superb. The Turing machine. That's all you need. These other things, they're just temptresses. They are all dressed up as some kind of extraordinary experience you're going to have with some kind of randomized melody, and they don't do anything of the kind. All they do is slowly drag bits of your brain out of your ear until there's nothing left, until your brain is completely smooth and squeezed out. They should come with some kind of warning to say no, this is going to hurt trying to use this module. So no, do not do it. No, I said. I do have a hologram microcosm. Holograms seem to send them out to absolutely everybody, and I was included on that, which I was quite pleased by. And I used it. I tried to use it a lot. Couldn't really get it to do anything. I couldn't get it to do anything predictable. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do, how to get it to do a thing. I found it a very troublesome module. I think a lot of other people did too, because there was 1 or 2 videos that came out that said, this is actually how you use this bloody thing. And they were right. That's how you use it. But I didn't have the time to sit down and work that out. However, once I'd wired it into my Big 6 desk over there as one of the sends, I actually got a lot more out of it suddenly. I found a couple of settings that seemed to work really nicely and were doing something. Because for the most part, I just couldn't work out what it was supposed to do. I was forever stepping through things going, I don't know, is there a delay? I don't really know. So, yeah, weird one, that one, I would say. Weird one. Acid rain tech stuff. Yeah, they've only got like 2 modules though. It's kind of hard to build a system out of the acid rain stuff. But the Maestros, yeah, is a fantastic module. Fantastic. I have one over there. It's over there looking at me. I'd like to use that again at some point. Turing machine is music thing modular is the best one, but there are clones, I guess, of it, or other people have done similar ones. There's one recently I saw that had a inbuilt quantizer, which I thought was not a bad idea because I run it with a quantizer all the time. I have the music thing modular Turing machine going into the microscale from IntelliGel right here. Microscale I love because I can just pick out a couple of notes. So I just wanted to play those notes. I don't want anything complicated in a quantizer. Many quantizers are far too complex. I just want to highlight a few notes and get it to play around them. Perfect. Really good. And I learned that I can I can transpose the microscale. I had no idea I could do that, but I found that out recently and I've still never really used that function. I'm a single loop kind of guy. I like 16 steps and I enjoy those 16 steps forever. That's just how I do it. Yeah, Milo Melodies just did a video on the stochastic, on the stochastic instruments generator, which is great. It's never going to be quite as good as my video and my live stream interview on it, but I'm sure Milo has really got the measure of it. I'm sure he's fantastic and will explain it far better than I ever have. I am miles behind in the chat. I am sorry, but I enjoy the commentary and I enjoy responding to it, even if I now am half an hour out. So maybe, yeah, Robert, thank you. Yeah, he did. Gaz is getting really good at his live stuff now. It's fantastic to watch. You know, he's gone through several evolutions and revolutions of his stuff, and that particular gig, I haven't seen it all yet. I've just seen bits and pieces, but I'm going to go and give that a good watch because he's a good fella, and I love what he's doing. I love that. I love his journey. He's had such a fantastic journey through this modular stuff, and now he's got more than, you know, he's got a case and a bit that he's now running, and I think that's superb. Yeah, Gaz is doing great stuff with that. Somebody's moaning about the stream. Let me just check figures at my end. Yeah. That's of no help to me at all. Because that's way behind. What is that doing? I don't even know. I've only been live for 17 minutes. I don't know quite what's going on there. Yeah, that's a bit of a worry. It would be a shame if I'm just doing this to myself, you know, all by myself. I mean, I don't mind. I'm having a nice time regardless. But my software over there is not giving me comforting numbers, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to crack on until someone gives me a poke and say you're no longer online. So, yeah, I'm going to skip. Well, look at all this stuff. I'm going to skip on down a little bit, see where we are, just in case I'm missing something. Microcosm has to be learned. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let me just step back a little bit. Can I play the theme from Kung Fu? No, I can't play anything. I'm just making it up. Good Lord. Yeah, no, I know I can route that into the ender. The problem is with that is it's difficult to play and hit the yellow button at the same time, which means you then have to rig up something which is hitting the yellow button. But if you're hitting the yellow button all the time, it means you're just overwriting all the time. So you've got to sort of have the yellow button hit by something while you're playing and then quickly unplug it so it doesn't then overwrite itself. So it's a little tricky, I would say. It's a little tricky. It's just really interesting, the response to playing a flute. It's just slightly weird. Maybe we all need to broaden our horizons a little bit. Oh, broaden our horizons a little bit. And just kind of go with it, man. Crikey. Right, so I know, because I'm lost in the chat now, I'm going to try to run this through Brinter and see what happens. So what did I do? I just turned it off here, didn't I? So it's still this. Oh no, this. Yeah. So that is just going through an Erica Synths delay at the moment. So let me take that down. 1, 2. Okay, so that's going through there. You can hear that, it's going through a reverb. That's fine. So presumably, I'm going to have to, oh, excuse me, hit record. So did that do anything? I don't think it did. I think I need to do something slightly better, I think is the answer. That microphone's still picking me up. Interesting. Well, lots to explore. Lots to explore there, I think. I think you'll find in both Brinta and Mojave, which will be fun. Yeah. Good. So, yeah, sorry about that. I got carried away again. Is there such a thing as the most essential module? Asks Ryan over on Twitch. Good question. If you're still there. I'm sure, I mean, again, back in the day, when I say back in the day, I mean about 18 months ago. I know when I was starting up with this, which was 4 or 5 years ago, there was a lot of talk of clouds, a lot of talk of maths as essential modules. You must have a maths. I had no idea why, but I felt railroaded into buying one. And it was useful, to be fair, because it had ultimately a couple of envelopes on it, which could turn into LFOs. And that's all I used it for. I didn't use any of the other functionality of it. I had no idea what the rest of it did. But you could do just as well with a relatively simple envelope. Clouds, no, it was just an effect. Which was a bit mysterious. The other thing was rings, which was another Mutable Instruments thing, which made a nice twangy sound. And these were all generally put around as being essential as far as I understood it at the time. What what becomes essential for me is it becomes I think I'm trying to put this better. What becomes essential, I think, is finding something which can create a certain amount of beauty. Because certainly when you're starting off with modular, it sounds pretty crap. It sounds very, very basic and in some ways pointless and disappointing. There's a lot of those I feel there's a lot of those emotions around when you first put together a little system. And so I would say what becomes essential is just a couple of things which beautifies whatever it is you're doing. The Turing machine is a good example of something that beautifies because it gives you a random sequence. Rather than trying to play something on your keyboard that you might have attached to it, or some other sequencer, or from your computer or whatever, some way that you're generating notes, it just generates modular style vibes is what it does, which I might be able to demonstrate slightly. Does that not do anything? Which bit is that? I can't remember. So why is that not coming out? So that's coming out there, that's going to there, that's going into there because I turned it down. I do that, but then this isn't coming out. That out is going to here, which is making sound. That is, look, no plugged into anything at all. So let's plug that in over here, number 2. Oh, that's a bit loud. Sorry, everyone. So this is the Turing machine is writing the melody. It's going through a quantizer, so I put in certain notes on the quantizer, so it's only going to play those notes. But the order of them is totally down to whatever it is the Turing machine is doing. So I could put more notes in, and it'd play those as well. But if you restrict the notes it can do, it then it becomes more melodic ultimately. And the gate I'm actually taking from somewhere else. So that's taken from here, which is being triggered by number 8 here. I'm just going to change that a second. Take that out of the system for a minute. So what was it all about? So yeah, so something like the Turing machine is just injecting in an interesting exploration of melody, which you're not going to be able to program yourself, and it suddenly then starts becoming and feeling like modular. So something like that is interesting. There's some kind of huge something coming from somewhere. I think it might just be because it's going through. Oh, I've got something else picked up in here. There we go. Sorry, the Endless had picked something up and I wasn't getting rid of it. That's better. So the next thing that you can beautify a sequence with, or your modular with, is an effect. So if you've got, your essentials then are an oscillator, a VCA, some way to sequence it, a filter, because filters are always going to be beautiful, and then you need an envelope to run that VCA and the filter really. And then to finish that little collection off, I would say you need either a nice reverb or a delay and a reverb. I mean, I've got this, what have I got? Going that in first. I put that into here. Can you see that? Not very well necessarily. It doesn't really matter at this stage. This is going into here. So what it looks like, I have a lot of stuff. I've essentially got an interesting oscillator which has some wave shaping to it. Got that going through a nice filter that also has some difference to it. That has been run by the Turing machine, which is just generating a sequence which is going through a quantizer which is restricting it on notes. Okay, it is getting complicated. And that's then going through a delay and a reverb which makes it sound beautiful. And this is modular all day long. Yeah, loving that. Let me skip down to a few more things. A Mini Nova. It was actually from a Microkorg XL. Boop-a-doo, boop-a-doo. Marbles is a Turing with the quantizer, says Andy. How about that? Never would have known it from looking at it. More jazz flute, please. Yes, maybe. The Nifty bundle is excellent. Create Audio Nifty bundle is awesome. It's good value. Comes with some weird couple of modules, which are fun. You know, they give it a go. It's a great way to start. Nifty case, it works. It's good. It's got far too many features for its price, really. So you've got MIDI and USB in there. You've got a couple of utilities built in. It's a really great little starting point, I would say. Yes. So look, heck, it's 9:30 already. Do I have a kalimba? No, I don't. I do have an Air Instruments music box thingy that plays What's It from Romeo and Juliet. Are you still considering the library idea? I am considering it, but it's a lot of work, I think, is the conclusion that I'm coming to. I think I mean I still really like the idea, and I have thoughts about just lending stuff out, honestly, to people who would like to borrow stuff. There is a sense of that happening, rather than formalizing it in any sort of way. It just becomes difficult when the whole idea is a beautiful one, and I'd like it to be really cost effective to people, but at the same time I kind of got to see it as a stream of revenue. But then how do I do that? Then you're dealing with deposits from people. I don't want to hold on to people's money. It kind of gets difficult. I don't quite know what to do with it. I still think it's a great idea. I just need a little bit of time and space to think about it, I think. I think it's a great idea. I want to do it. It's just the logistics of it are slightly overwhelming at the moment. Yeah, I'm also intrigued by the Ouija Man modules. Yeah, there's a whole thing with that going on that I don't quite understand at all, really. But there seems to be, again, this wasn't something it seemed to be on the edge of something when I started doing modular. That seemed to disappear. There was another sort of legendary type modules that I've not really ever seen anything in recent times from them. So it's a mysterious era of modular. In an ideal world, like 3 systems: percussion, melodics, harmonics, and effects. Yeah, I see that. I mean, that's kind of how I compartmentalize generally. You're always working on one or other of those, because once you start adding, well, you want. I mean, Gaz was talking about how he's got like something like 8 voices in his case. I don't know quite how he manages that, but I've got potentially the Surface 1, Pony 2, Acronym 3. At the moment, I've got 3 melodic voices, and at the moment there's no percussion in here at all, and I need to remedy that. I've just taken the Mandrake out, and the Erica Synths drums I was using has just gone to here. So I was using those. I was also, if you were watching last time, I had the Trinity in here, which I've worked really hard to try to like the Trinity, and I have and I haven't. I do sometimes and sometimes not, but I need to spend some time with it. And it's this whole business I have of shifting modules around the place to try to achieve a particular end. So for instance, at the moment, I'm trying to do another little video on the endless processor. So I'm shifting things around, and I want to be doing a video on the FX boy. So I'm shifting things around to accommodate that. Then I need to be looking at the Brinter, because that and the Mojave are both going to be reviews for Sound on Sound, I think. So I need to focus on those. So that affects what I can have in my rack at one time, you know. And it's an interesting juggling act, because it does mean that my rack is never very bored. It doesn't get boring, because there's always another thing going in, swapping it about, changing that around. So it's unfortunate in some ways, because it would be good to just learn a thing, but that's just not my life, I'm afraid. It's forever changing, and I have to try my best to adapt with that. That's just the way things go, which is endlessly annoying, I imagine, for people, because they're constantly going, oh wow, that's another great module, weird thing, I must have that. So it's horrible for you out there. I do appreciate it. Is a Moog grandmother going to give me anything else that I can't already do with a Boog and a sequencer? No, I don't think so. It will just be the lovely sense of having that instrument on your desk, you know, because it's a beautiful thing. It's a really nice looking synth. But it's also very, you know, it's very limited, very chunky, only does a few things really, but it's just a nicely put together thing. If you mean the little mini Moog Behringer one and a sequencer, sure, yeah, you can do similar stuff with that. Absolutely. Just it's not such an expansive, interesting working environment. It's a more of a fiddly working environment. You know, a bit more like this, I suppose. So, you know, it depends on what's important to you. I wouldn't get hung up on whether you should buy Moog or whether you should buy Behringer. Just you should get what you feel is the best, gives you the best opportunity to make the sort of music that you want to make. You know, for some people the interface isn't important. For some people the most important aspect is the budget, and that's absolutely fair enough. And so you get what you can for your money and put up with any of the other shortcomings. But if that's less of an issue, then I would say something like the grandmother or the matriarch just gives you such a wider working environment that's always going to feel more relaxed in, I feel. But then I'm messing around in this tiny stuff here, so relaxation is not something that I fully understand, particularly. Martin, that's a good question. What's my motivation level for getting out live with a small rig now that I've done it a few times? Yeah, motivation is high. The weather's appalling. So yeah, like to do it. I mean, one thing that was a difficulty slightly in my field trips was that it was an experiment. So I was testing the battery and testing what worked. So it wasn't a case of going out, finding a space, enjoying the space, and then, you know, slowly putting some music together. It was, does this work? Plug this in, trying to get that to work. I'm feeling nervous about people turning up or walking past, trying to get it to work. Is that working? Trying to get the cameras to work. You know, there was a lot of rigmarole involved. And so the actual underlying being outside in the wilderness and enjoying that was minimized really on these couple of trips. So once I've got the hang of it and got the video behind me, if that makes sense, then I can just go out, set up the 360 camera, which worked brilliantly. It does exactly what I hoped it would. I can just sit it next to me. I can not have to worry about where the camera's pointing or whether it's in focus. I can just sit that there and it can record the event. Also, my little recorder did really well too. my Zoom recorder, although there's one further stage I need to get through, which is somewhere in this shed I have a load of my volts. I have a power cord and a fake battery thing that can go inside it and run it off USB. So I want to be able to run the recorder off the same battery. I haven't been able to do that. I seem to be at a strange angle. I haven't been able to do that because I haven't found the bits. I can't find them. They're in here somewhere, but I haven't managed to put my hands on them. So that would be the final test I need to do. So what I'm saying is, hopefully, I mean, I don't really mind, as long as it's not pouring with rain. I don't mind going out in the cold. I plan to do a lot more of it, and I plan to do it in such a way that I can enjoy it for itself rather than worrying about all the gear having to work or not, you know. So yeah, I'm wanting to do more of that. Tickets for Synth East. Thank you for asking that question. I can talk to you about Synth East this week, I believe. We should be announcing that our plan was to announce at the end of the month, which of course is Tuesday. Now, we haven't really talked about it very much in the last week or so. As far as I understand it, everything that should be arranged is more or less arranged. I haven't, I confess, captured all of the manufacturers yet. I need to sort that out and get those people booked in as soon as, really. But as far as the weekend goes, it is more or less sorted out. We've just literally got to pull the trigger on it. I've got to run off to the Norwich Arts Centre and do a quick video, you know, all the sort of stuff I did last year. I'll be trying to do again in order to encourage people to come. Not that we had any problems with filling it up last time. But this year, hopefully, there'll be a bit more space, as in we're going to release a few more tickets, and there's some slightly different things going on over the weekend. So it should be good. So it should be this week, all being well. Got a bit of website stuff to do. I'll have to sort that out. Yeah, all being well. It will be this week. But I will, of course, make a big noise about it as soon as it happens. I can't tell you what we've got happening because we need to wait for the official release. So just hold your horses. But it will be good. It will be different to last time. It will be the same, as in the Saturday daytime will be the same. But the evening event's slightly different this time around, which I think is a good thing, slightly broader, which I think will be great. Cockerel oscillator. Maybe. Yeah, I've got my Oct expander. Let me just do a quick thing. What can you see best? It's difficult for me to see. Can you see that? No, not at the moment. You can't, I don't think. I just wanted to basically, what am I doing? What did you want to do? I'm going to take that thing there, just use my Molten, just to check something out. So if I use, going into one, I need to put that to CB. Like that. What's going on there? Oh, because I'm going in. Right. What's going on? What are you trying to achieve? Right. Maybe I'll bring this one in. Okay. So you can see my Molten meter motion. What's it there? Yeah. So I can stick that onto there. I'm going to plug that in. And just to check what it is that we've got. So from the DivKit Oct, I've got it here, and the expander. So you've got regular LFOs out, yeah? You can see that, yeah, positive and negative. Then out of the top 4, I think you get the, there we go, different speeds. It's rectified, which means it's only positive. Do you see that? So that's the first top 4. The next 4, oh, that's doing 2 and then 1 over there. That's interesting. This is giving you a different shape. Based on some kind of something or other. So the second lot of 4 are giving you some slightly different shaped LFOs. The next 4 are giving you triggers based upon, you know, some combination of the original LFOs. So you've got fast triggers. See, that's interesting. It might be creating a fantastic little drum machine just from those triggers. Don't know, haven't tried it out yet. And then the bottom ones are a bit more in terms of random. Should be a bit more random. Yeah. There we go. Still very much in the positive realm. So there you go, in a nutshell, that's DivKids Expander, which is great because these 8 LFOs are awesome. I use them a lot. And to have these additional ones, because there are stuff that doesn't respond too well to negative voltages from a full range LFO. It also pairs up really nicely with a Molten motion meter because you can attenuate it, because there's no attenuation on the module itself. So you can reduce it down to something not quite so mega, which is cool. Will I do a video on it? Possibly. I've got a lot on my plate at the moment, so maybe, but it's certainly a wonderful thing to have. It's really suitably, it's not complicated, it's clever. Clever is a word. It's intelligent, and so not exactly, but not immediately necessarily obvious as to what it does, but because it's using different LFOs from the original Oct in order to generate the outcomes it's having in the other bit. So as I say, it's cleverly put together, so it's doing clever things. But ultimately the outputs are relatively straightforward. So it's good. It's good extra stuff, extra modulation you've suddenly got from the one module, which is nice. No flashing lights though. No flashing lights. Just skipping on down a bit. I'm sorry if I've not answered your question. Feel free to ask it again, or to ask it in caps or some sort of search so I will see it. Have I got to the bottom? Cool. Well, what I would like to do, I would like to, what was I running a moment ago? To put that in there. even is that? Resets the position. Yeah, that's very strange at the moment. Okay, cool. So that was a load of things. That was a load of stuff. I think, where are we now? It's 5 to 10, so I think we're probably going to wind it up. That's been fun for me. I've explored a couple of things. I've played my flute, which has been very exciting. Very exciting. Played with the Barinta. That's going to require just a little bit more thought on that. The Mojave, on the other hand, seems to just go off and do its thing. It's just a matter of understanding what the knobs are going to do, so you can predict what the outcome's going to be, because I'm not entirely sure what's doing what with that just yet. The FX Boy, as I say, I'm going to be doing that soon. So yeah, that's been fun. I've enjoyed doing that. Thank you very much for your company. Trying to think if there's anything else to really bring to the table at this time, or whether that's probably enough. It's probably enough. But thank you for your questions. Thank you for your interest. I hope this has not been too dreary. It's been interesting. So things coming up then, just to let you know. As I say, I'm working on my roundup of 10 years type video, which which I'm going to try to get done this week if I can. I've got a video on the FX Boy DIY build coming out this week. I've just got to finish off that. I've also got my video on the fun in the sea and the fun in the forest portable modular thing coming along. Those are my main focuses at the moment. I do have a lot of things to review, most of which I'm writing about, so they will become a focus sooner rather than later, and I will try to squeeze out demo videos at the very least of those at the same time. Just depends on who it's for and what the module's for, that kind of thing. I don't have anything secret. I've got loads of kits to build. Lots of things in boxes I haven't looked at and opened. Lots of exciting stuff. It's just a matter of squeezing it all in, while at the same time trying to make a bit of music, trying to do some interesting stuff and to get out there. Yeah, it's another reason to that I do things like go out to try to make some music in the forest. Is the point of making music. That's the purpose. That's the thing. Because unfortunately, so often as I'm sitting here working on stuff and bits and pieces, the actual making of the music is the last thing on the agenda, and it's nice to make that the first thing or the focus of what I'm trying to do. But we've just had half term, so it's been a little bit hit and miss as to what I've been able to do this last week or so. But I hope to remedy that, and as we blast our way towards Christmas, I hope to produce a lot of good videos coming up for you good people. I hope. A bit more flute, I think, is necessary. That was really funny. I'm going to smile about that a lot, I think. So, yeah, so lots of good stuff to come, of course, always. I might even experiment, when I've done my 10-year video thing, I might experiment with putting that out there as a premiere. You know that thing like DivKid does, where he puts a video and he's in the chat as the first time it plays. I might try to do that. It feels slightly kind of, you know, what if nobody's there kind of thing? What if nobody comes along and I'll feel like an idiot sitting there by myself watching my own video? There is that risk factor to it. I do tend to like dropping videos in the middle of the night and, you know, just casually put it live without any kind of schedule, because then I don't have to think about it. Think about the viewing figures or the impact that something has when it drops, you know, the tumbleweed and that kind of thing. But we'll see. I think hopefully it will be an informative video, if nothing else, and allow me just to speak out the thoughts for the future and the ways going forward, things like that, which is quite exciting. I have no idea what you're lot talking about. More flute, says the Village Green sound system. Yeah, you want some bells on me ankles as well, don't you? Being like a Village Green and that. That would be nice. Right, yes, great. Okay, good. I'm not going to wire anything else in now. I'm just going to say toodaloo. So thank you very much for spending your time with me. That's been great. Thanks very much. More stuff to come, as I say. Do stay in touch. You know, send me messages, whatever you like. I'm always happy to talk to people about stuff. Synth East, more information about that coming out this week. Great to see you all there. Feel free to come and join us on Patreon. That's the one place where if the synth library ever happens, it's going to happen, or at least start there. Oh yeah, no, that's one thing. Our internet has been massively upgraded over here in the village. It's not gone live yet, but once it has, I will then start uploading videos, all of my videos, to Patreon. The reason being is I'm getting really hacked off with the YouTube advert system. It's not my fault. You know, I have turned on adverts, but whether you do or whether you don't, YouTube now sticks adverts in flipping everything. And it started sticking, you know, 2 minutes worth of adverts in the front of things. And that's just awful. I don't think anyone should have to put up with that. But apparently we do. We do. We have to put out in order to use the facility of YouTube, which is fantastic, without any doubt. You have to put up with the adverts, and that's a shame. So I'm going to start uploading them once I have the bandwidth. Once it's not an absolute bandwidth killer uploading these videos, I'll start sticking them up on Patreon so you can watch them as a patron without having to have completely advert free. I think that's a positive thing. So I'll be doing that as soon as I get the upgrade over here. So that's it. I need to stop talking and let you all go. So thanks very much for your company again, as I keep saying. Oh, boom! As my viewing figures just jump another 10, which is funny. But I will leave it there. I'll go over and press my outro, and wish you all a very merry evening. Oh, crunch. That's not a good sound. I'm just enjoying the comments. Sorry, I'll go now. I really must learn a tune. Something convincing.